Namaste, friends, and welcome to our Sunday edition of Words of Wisdom, Gyan Ganga, on our Virat Hindustan Sangam social media channels. We have a very interesting episode today, which is 159th episode, and we regret last Sunday due to logistic reasons we could not have our program. Today's topic is current status of the National Herald case and future prospects. We have with us Dr. Subramanian Swamy, the complainant of the case, who is our patron, president of Virat Hindustan Sangam, and our guest today, along with Dr. Swamy, is Dr. M.R. Venkatesh. He is a lawyer, CA, and a commentator on political issues, and he has been in the forefront of exposing numerous scams, and he will tell us in detail, along with Dr. Swamy, the present status of the case. I have to thank my co-host Ramesh Swamy and Professor Arvind Chaturvedi from Delhi. And I also have to thank our technical team led by Ashish Shetty, Tejas Navalgul, Ishwar Iyer, Swaminathan, Rakesh Gadgi, Vishal Mehta, and Ajesh Nair for their support to put this program together. So with these words, it's over to Dr. Swamy to initiate this discussion on the current status of the National Herald case and future prospects. Over to Dr. Swamy.
Yeah. Thank you, Jagdish. I'm privileged to be in a panel together with you, Ramesh, and Arvind, and of course Mr. Venkatesh. Venkatesh, of course, embarrasses me sometimes because when the case began in Patiala House, he was called in as a witness. I mean, he was my witness. But every hearing, the judge asked me, where is Venkatesh? Because he had the clarity to present a very complicated subject in simple language. And I will say that he contributed heavily to our success in what nobody thought would happen. Summons issued against Sonia Gandhi, Rahul Gandhi, Motilal Vora, Oscar Fernandez, Sam Pitroda, Suman Dubey. These 6 people, summons was issued. And look how fast we went. It was 2013, and on 2014, in the early part of 2014, we got summons issued. And then, of course, the delay process started. Now, who's responsible and all, maybe if we have time, we can discuss it. But the fact is that the stage today we are in is a very important stage. And now the National Herald case is grown into an umbrella of 5 cases. My original case, where I've said there has been a conspiracy to defraud the public. Then I spoke about the criminal misappropriation of somebody else's territory, I mean, some property. And then the question of cheating. So, there are four major sections of the IPC which we had put on them. Then after that, the income tax got into the act, because these people are earning money out of the process and not reporting it. And so the income tax has done a tremendously good job. I mean, their documentation is superb. I don't have to do any more documentation. The income tax, the judgment of the income tax, which then went to the tribunal. From tribunal, it went to the High Court, and all the way Sonia Gandhi, Rahul Gandhi, etc. lost, and now it's gone to the Supreme Court, and we hope very soon there also a decision will be taken. And on that also, that means they are going to suffer on that. Then there is the question of having got all this land. I mean, the amount of land, buildings that National Herald building Associated Journals Limited has got is just unbelievable. Remember, it was started during the what they call as the freedom struggle. 1937, some people got together, 10 people. Jawaharlal Nehru was one of them, Kriplani was other. They were all the well-known top leaders. This was not a congress only. Socialists were there, and others were there. Hindu Mahasabha was there. So they all got together and shelled out money, and the least money shelled out was Jawaharlal Nehru, 10 rupees for one share. And but still they all said that English best of all, so for National Herald you be the chairman of it. 1947 he became prime minister, so he got somebody else, but he used the government facilities to give the National Herald maximum. So Bahadur Shah Zafar Mark, a huge plot for almost pittance was given. They have built a huge building there, and in that huge building they began renting it out to Tata, the computer center, TCS, or what's it called, banks, Indian Ministry of External Affairs, passport office. And even today, the Narendra Modi's government has not made the External Affairs Ministry quit that place, and they're giving a fat revenue rent to the National Herald, which presently all that money is going to Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi. So that was there. And so there are about 5 cases. And there are some cases in the states also, because they have properties in the states. So this is the saga. Now, what is the crime? The crime was this: that Sonia Gandhi, Rahul Gandhi, Motilal Vora, Oscar Fernandez, Sam Pitroda, Suman Dubey got together and created a company called Young Indian. And all the money they could collect for the paid up capital was just 5 lakhs. So I started a company with 5 lakhs. After it was started, a little before they had the company came into being, the Associate Journals Limited, which was publishing National Herald plus one Hindi and one Urdu, in 2008 they closed down the entire printing operations and said, we have a debt which we can't service, and that debt belongs to Congress Party, because the Congress Party was giving us loans, and the loans have added up to 90 crores. So these 90 crores we cannot return to Congress. So we are closing down. All the staff, everybody is removed. I mean, they just cleaned it up. So anybody who was to get the building now would get a clean building. So it's all cleaned up by the Congress Party. on the grounds that the AGL could not pay back the loan. And who is the chairman of the board of directors? It was Motilal Vora, who is also was also a director in Young Indian. So was your Oscar Fernandez there, and they were Suman Dubey, Sam Pitroda. They were all part of the board of directors. Now, then what happened is the young Indian met, and they decided that Motilal Vora, who is the shareholder, a small shareholder, I mean, the big shareholders that time was 76% was owned by mother and son. Now, then it went to 80 after some time. And now, after the death of Motilal Vora and Oscar Fernandez, they have got 100% of Young Indian. But anyway, that's in the recent development. So they had a meeting and they decided that Motilal Vora will go to Congress party and tell them that, lo and behold, they have closed down Associated Journals Limited, and 90 crores that you lent is gone, it's finished. They have declared bankruptcy. So it is now a dud loan that you have given. So just to see that you people are, not, I mean, your party workers and all are not badly feeling, we will give you 50 lakhs. Now, how is a 5 lakh company, Young Indian, going to give 50 lakhs? That's another story I'll just come to in a minute. So they said, we'll give you 50 lakhs and you sign this entire loan to us. So for 50 lakhs, the Congress party, signed over the loan of the so-called loan. Why I'm saying so-called loan, I'll tell you in a minute. Loan of 90 crores to Young Indian. So now, but who did this wonderful negotiations from both sides? In the side of the Young Indian, of course, it was Motilal Vora. But who was not doing it on the side of the Congress? The treasurer of Congress party. Who is the treasurer of the Congress party? Motilal Vora. So Motilal Vora spoke to Motilal Vora, and both of them then signed, one as the treasurer of the Congress party and another the office bearer, and they agreed that this loan will now belong to Young Indian. After that, Young Indian went to discuss. Motilal Vora was sent to Associated Journals Limited to discuss how they can see that they can get some benefit out of this 90 crores. So who was the chairman of the board of directors of Associated Journals Limited, which was publishing National Herald? Motilal Vora. So Motilal Vora again went and talked to Motilal Vora, and they came to the conclusion that the company will issue 9 crores shares of 10 rupees each and hand it over to the Young Indian. Now, that's breaking all the rules of corporate affairs. But anyway, look at this. Why I'm saying look at this? First of all, Congress party should not have given 50 lakhs for 50 lakhs, 90 crores, because they could have got the 90 crores itself. Why? How? They could have asked the company law board or the registrar of companies to take over the company and auction it. And from the auction money, because the National Herald, that is the Associated Journals, had more than 2,000 crores. I thought they had 5,000 crores, but conservatively 2,000 crores. 2,000 crores they had. So they could have easily compensated Congress, they could have compensated the other shareholders and all that. But they didn't do that, and because it was a conspiracy. And therefore, Motilal Vora was told, issue 9 crore shares of 10 rupees each. So that's 90 crores. And give it to us, some in the name of Rajiv Gandhi, Rahul Gandhi, some in the name of Sonia Gandhi. So the board meeting was called, And in that, the other shareholders were there for ages. The one of the Supreme Court judge by name Karju, his father had bought the shares. He was not also invited. So then Prashant's father, who is a lawyer, his father was a head of shares. He was also not allowed. Nobody was called of the existing shareholders, which are about 1,559 people. They were not called. They just held it and passed it, and that's how it came to the hands of the National Herald. Now, a few things are left over. Where did they get this money of 50 lakhs? They got this money by going to a company called Dotex in Calcutta. And Dotex in Calcutta, without any surety, any whatever that's called for giving loans, that none of that, they gave 1 crore zero interest loan to a young Indian. But in their diary, they put donation. In National Herald diary, in budget documents, it is put as loan. So 50 lakhs they kept, 50 lakhs they gave to Congress party so that they can give them 90 crores in return. Now, where did this? How did this company give them this 1 crore? Is it against something, some account? It turns out that that's where the Enforcement Directorate investigation started. I had given this in 2014 itself, but Jet Li intervened and he stopped it. And again in 2018, I gave a detailed charge sheet, and that is my charges, and therefore now 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, 4 years later, they have registered a case, and they have summoned both Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi, and they can't summon others because Pitroda and Sumant Dubey, they don't have any shares, and Motilal Vora and the other director is dead. So in that, these two have called. Of course, Sonia has got corona, and Rahul Gandhi is stuck in London, and so they've asked for different timings. I'm sure that some timing will be worked out in June, and they will have to. That's an open shut case. Why? Because that Dotex company in Calcutta only does money laundering for foreign exchange. So Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi must have given them in dollars, and they have given them rupees. And so I think that is also an open shut case. Now, income tax, they found that money which they're not supposed to appropriate because they had created it as a zero profit company, they had pocketed. So that income tax has now asked them to give 492 crores of unpaid taxes, and this is only for 2 years, and more years is to come. This is from 2011. So how many years now are left? I think they won't have any money left after all these are collected. So there's a second case. That is, the first case is the money laundering case, which is now in the public. The second case is the income tax, which is already completed, and they were given this claim, the entire documents. They went to the High Court. High Court said first go to the tribunal. They went to the tribunal. They lost. They came to the High Court. They lost, and now they're going to Supreme Court. And for some reason, the Advocate General, Attorney General, Solicitor General is not showing any enthusiasm about having the case heard. But now I think I'll put a bomb in it, and maybe he will do it. But that's also open shut. Everything I did, the Congress went all the way to Supreme Court. When I got the summons, They went to the High Court and lost there. They went to the Supreme Court. They lost there. And of course, I didn't have any lawyer at that time. And MRV was too busy to help me in this. I think he had some urgent engagements. Anyway, the timings didn't suit him. So I argued all these myself and won it at every level. And finally, they were summoned to come and take bail, give a surety, and that is each of them had to name some individual who can be arrested in case they run away after bail. So Sonia Gandhi gave Anthony, Rahul Gandhi gave Priyanka, who was weeping all through the proceedings, and of course, similarly, the others gave their names. So, before I conclude and hand it over to our friend here, M.R. Venkatesh, I'd like to say that as far as the 4 charges of cheating, criminal misappropriation, and criminal breach of trust, and conspiracy, they are in the final stages. Where am I today? There's one document I wanted. The lower court mistakenly said, no, you can't take it now. After the cross-examination is over, then only you can take it. When the Indian Penal Code and the CRPC clearly says that while the Section 244 hearing is going on, during the hearing, you can get any document that you seek for. So I have come to the High Court to ask the High Court to quash the lower court bad decision. And so after that, we'll start moving. Once these documents come, then it's a final argument whether charges should be framed. Once these four things, they all add up. By the way, if I add them up, it comes to about 18 years of imprisonment. But there is one other 409, which I have yet not included as the 5th charge, and that is life imprisonment. So according to the criminal law, if a person who's a public person has been able to do a private transaction of this kind, then you can give punishment up to life imprisonment. It's very, very, very 409. I think it's been rarely used, if I'm not wrong. But anyway, there you are. So everything is set. We have got a prima facie case proved, namely that they are guilty. Now it is their turn by cross-examining me, cross-examining a friend here, MRV, and cross-examining Gopi. Gopi, you know what a trickster he is. He wrote an innocent email to Rahul Gandhi saying that you have now taken over National Herald, congratulations, but are you going to start a newspaper? And he said, no, nothing of the kind. We have nothing to do with newspapers. So that goes against them, because they had been trying to argue in court, no, we have only, because the paper is doing badly, now we are going to start a newspaper. They have started some kind of a National Herald, but that's not being printed in Bahadur Shah Zafar Marg. It's not being printed in the Herald House. It is being printed in Indian Express. So, it won't allow. So, housing development, if Hardeep Puri stops going abroad and to Ukraine and God knows where all he keeps going, and concentrates on this, in 2 weeks, that building can be taken over the government. We have already won it at the level of the High Court. It's now lying in Supreme Court. It's an easy matter, but Hardeep Puri doesn't seem to have any time. He's going around gallivanting around the world. I don't know why Urban Development Ministry should be traveling around the world, because it's all properties all within India. But anyway, there have been many delays. Some people also feel bad that Swamy is taking all this publicity and so on. But I'm also hardworking. We got friends. We got a team. Now we got Satya has also come. He's just graduated and done about 1 year as a lawyer, and we have got Vishesh Kanodia. So we have got, for earlier on, we had Ishkaran, but now he's grown so big that he has too many cases. So I thought I'll give him relief by, let him pursue his career. So therefore, today, all we need is regular hearing, not long adjournments, and you will see that they will have to spend a long time in jail. And people never thought they will ever be even called to the court and asked on a summons and then take bail. Nobody ever thought like that, but it happened. And at that time, I did not ask them for their imprisonment, because when you are not convicted and you put in jail, then it's only a matter of time before you come out after all the interrogations are over. And then, of course, during that time, the Congress fellows will do bhajans outside Tihar jail, create a big nuisance. So I thought, let them get convicted. But the Prime Minister has been saying, bail Gadi. Well, for all the hard work, he's getting some benefits. I'm very happy. I hope he's grateful. But today, on 5 different angles, we are fighting this. It's not only National Herald case of some building being taken over, but it's a cheating. There's a question of money laundering. There's a question of misuse of the buildings. So many income tax. So all these put together, we don't need any more cases against Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi, because this is enough to keep them out of the political picture for a long time. So over to MRV, who is our Sherlock Holmes, and he will be able to tell us now some of the intricacies that lie ahead and have in the past we have overcome. Over to you.
Good evening, Dr. Swamy, and thank you once again. And I must be ever grateful to you for giving me this opportunity to be your witness in this case, because it pitchforked me into the national political arena and converted a humble accountant into a ferocious lawyer. So this is that landmark case. I remember one dairy afternoon when he called me and said, will you be my witness? I didn't even blink an eye. I said, yes, sir, but I didn't even ask you why and what for. And the rest, as they say, is history. So coming to this case, before I go into, you have explained all the important aspects of it, so I don't want to duplicate it, but there is one interesting fact as an aside. All of us know the Satyam scam. The Satyam scam was done by Ramlinga Raju, who was writing software for various companies, various banking companies. So the master copy of the software was in his house. So there was a master copy of the software which was in his house, and another software was given to the banks. So he used to use that software to create term deposit receipts in his own house and give it to the auditors and others. Who it looked as good as the original, because the original software is in his computer. So you understand how he manipulated the whole system. So the auditors would look at the whole term deposit receipt. They would look at as good as the original. Now, coming to our issue here in National Herald, let us assume that I have given, or let us assume one X has given a deposit of 1 crore to State Bank of India. 1 crore rupees deposit to State Bank of India. On a Saturday afternoon, he goes to the bank and says, I want to withdraw that money. The bank says, look, today is afternoon of Saturday. I don't have enough cash in my chest. So what do? You come on Monday. The man says, no, I want cash immediately, today. So I go to him and tell him, sir, you have a 1 crore deposit. I will recover that 1 crore deposit from State Bank of India. Don't worry about that. But for giving me that right, I will pay you 1,00,000 rupees, just 1%. Take this 1%, 1,00,000 rupees, be happy about it, spend your weekend very happily with your family. Meanwhile, on Monday morning, I will come to the bank and recover 1 crore of rupees from State Bank of India. The man also happily takes that 1 lakh and goes away. On Monday morning, I come to the State Bank of India and tell them, look, I have a right to recover 1 crore of deposit, and don't give me 1 crore of rupees. Give me your share. It may be worth 900 rupees in the stock market per share. Give me 10 rupees share at 10 rupees each. So that is the second part of the scam. The first part of the scam was to cheese off so and so on Saturday morning. The second part of the scam is to cheese off State Bank of India on Monday morning by taking their shares at 10 rupees when they are worth 900 rupees, say, in the market. So there are two legs to the scam. But there is a master scam also. The master scam is that the term deposit of 1 crore itself is a fraudulent one, which never existed. So let me remove these three characters. There is Congress Party, then there is Young Indian, and then there is AJL. AJL is the State Bank in my example. Congress Party is the person who has deposited 1 crore rupees, and I am Sonia Gandhi, Rahul Gandhi, etc., Young Indian. So I am the person who cheeses off everybody. Now, what has happened here? Everybody knows the first two limbs of the story. That is, they took the company had hundreds of crores of property, but Congress Party had lent 90 crores of money. So Young India, AJL, which is the recipient of the loan from Congress Party, says we are unable to repay 90 crores back to Congress Party. Then, as Dr. Swamy said, Young India steps in, buys that right to recover the loan from AJL for 50 lakhs. Dr. Swamy also explained how that 50 lakhs came. It is a book entry from Dotex, which is itself a shady company. Okay, so that part is well understood. Congress Party using that 90 crores of Young India using that 90 crores right, getting that shares of AJL is well understood. But what happened to that loan of 90 crores? Did Congress Party give 90 crore rupee loan to India? AJL. That is the question. Repeat. Did Congress Party give 90 crore rupees of loan to AJL? This is the question. Now look at what the income tax assessing officer has found out. The alleged loan of 90.21 crores was an artificially inserted step in the form of a paper entry of an amount which was sufficient for allotment of 99% of shares in AJL. There was no money flown from Congress Party to AJL. It is basically a book entry because, as Dr. Swamy said, Motilal Vora was the treasurer of Congress Party. Motilal Vora was the treasurer of AJL also, as the director of AJL. So he could pass an entry in the Congress book. I have paid 90 crores to AJL. He comes this side to AJL and says, I have received 90 crores from Congress Party. But there is no money that has actually flown in. So this is a scam of the highest order. This is a bogus entry of the highest order. And we smelt it as early as 2013 or 14. Now, Dr. Swamy will recall why. Dr. Swamy starts with a very important fact that the ED notice says that on the basis of a complaint by Dr. Swamy, that this ECIR has been registered. The reason for it is we got the trial court issuing summons, issuing processes to Sonia Gandhi, Rahul Gandhi, etc., somewhere in June 2014. In July first week of 2014, Dr. Swamy, Dr. Roxana Swamy, and myself, and probably a few others, went to the Enforcement Directorate office and filed a complaint asking the Enforcement Director, at that time it was Mr. Katoch, and we asked him, look, we have found out this, we have collected out all these details, and please look into it because the trial court has already seized of this matter, and these offences under 420, 403, probably 406, all these things make out a case of money laundering because these are all predicate offences under the Money Laundering Act. Then something very funny happened between 2014 and 2015 within the ED. The ED said, look, we know that these cases, these sections do become predicate offences for starting an investigation under the Money Laundering Act. But for money laundering, to begin the money laundering, you must have an FIR. But Dr. Swamy has started this not through an FIR. He did not go to the police. He has initiated the case under 200 CRPC, which is a private complaint. So they said the Act mandates FIR. Dr. Swamy has gone on his own complaint. So he, instead of Dr. Swamy going to the court and the magistrate ordering an investigation or a process, he should have first gone to some Tuklakabad police station. A Havildar should have, in 2013, recorded against Sonia Gandhi, Rahul Gandhi, etc. And the ED would have accepted. Now, this was the reason why this case was shelved for the last 3-4 years by the ED. But now, the income tax officer has put the ball back into ED's court, and he has found out, as I read out from this order, this 90 crore loan is a bogus loan. So who is the person who has given this loan? It is Congress party. Who was the president at that time? It is Sonia Gandhi. Okay, now she has done what Ramalinga Raju did. Now you will find the connection between Ramalinga Raju and Sonia Gandhi. What Ramalinga Raju did it with some sophistry through a computer software program. Sonia Gandhi did it in an old-time fashion. She wrote 2 entries in 2 different books, and she's happily about 90 crores of loan. So you can understand what is the fate that has befallen this Ramalinga Raju awaits Sonia Gandhi. Now, I am putting a very important section 45. Now, whenever there is going to be an arrest under the PMLA Act, it is very difficult to get a bail. It is treated like some sort of murder or offense against a lady under 376. So those type of Supreme Court has said money laundering is one of the most heinous crimes. No mercy should be shown and no bail should be given. So bail, if God forbid any of these top honchos are arrested within the Congress, then the magistrate, sessions, even the High Court will find it very difficult to give bail to them. So what is Congress now looking at? Congress is looking at a super fast highway to Tihar from Janpad. And Dr. Swamy has given a beautiful road to them. Cleaning the roads, he has paved the roads, a super way, highway. All that, these, now it is a question whether the income tax will get them. Now, last time we spoke about this case probably a month or so ago. The income tax is only bothered about recovering the tax. Yeah. Now, according to the income tax authorities, look, Sonia Gandhi and others have profited around 400 crores of property by all these transactions. Bogus, they are not bothered into bogus, non-bogus, all those things. They are incidentally finding all these things there. But they have found out something important. They said that the value of this property is 400 crores. And so the tax bill will be around 120 crores. Plus 3 times that will be a penalty, which will be around another 350 crores. So roughly 400 to 500 crores will be the tax bill of Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi. And once the matter goes to High Court, I think by the time the income tax will also start a prosecution under 276C. So that is going to be for the non-payment of tax. But this money laundering section is for the bogus entry, using all these shenanigans to accumulate wealth. And that is coming at a very inopportune time. So it is a pincer-like attack for them. So morning they may have to go to the income tax authorities, afternoon they have to go to the ED, and afternoon, this is most likely in the night they may have to go to Tihar. So it is a very, very difficult situation for the Congress leadership. Now, as I see it, the bail proceedings are very stringent in money laundering. And now, what we should not forget, and very importantly from the point of law, income tax puts a very important condition in income tax law. Once the tribunal looks into all facts, the facts are settled, only a question of law can be appealed under 260 capital A, capital B with the High Court. The income tax authority have repeatedly called Congress party and told the Congress party, did you give 90 crores of loan to AJL? If you have, produce us the necessary details like bank entries, vouchers, something to prove that you have given 90 crores. The Congress party has not ever replied to the income tax authorities after several notices to the Congress party. The income tax authorities have come to this finding that this entry is bogus. And this we suspected in 2014, but at that time we didn't have the coercive arm of the income tax authorities or the ED to come to a definitive conclusion. But that is why we made this complaint to the ED in 2014 July. If I remember right, it was 7th of July. So now we are almost in July 22. So after 8 years, the ED has woken up, and they were perforce forced to open up after a long slumber like Ripu and Winkle, is because that they are compelled by the flow of events. And the biggest event is income tax authorities have come to a definitive conclusion: this 90 crores is bogus. If 90 crores is bogus, money laundering becomes automatically proved. If that is proved, Sonia and Rahul's visit to, they're becoming Tiharapatis is certain. So at this point, I will stop. And if there are any questions, any further.
Let me add in the beginning.
Yeah.
It means that they also did fraud in participating in this 90 crores.
Yes.
In the sense that Motilal Vora was a chairman of the AJL. He was also a director in the Young Indian. So was the other board members. Yes, Oscar Fernandez, Pedro and Subramanian. They were all part of the thing. So they were there. They were in Congress. They were in this thing. This is an unbelievable thing that somebody is buying from somebody and you're actually buying from yourself. It can't be a bigger fraud than that. So my charges are cheating, criminal misappropriation of property, which is all this property, and this property is all over India, huh? And
Yes.
Even in Panchkula and so many other places. So plus this cheating, all these things put together, with that 409, which I'm going to add very soon, section 409 of the IPC, which says that if you are in the public, if you're a public servant and you do fraud, then it is life imprisonment. Now, what can I do? I mean, the law must, be. We have to fight for the law. I didn't come in. It's not my fault that you went and did this fraud and tried to make money this way. So, if they go to jail and for life, well, I mean, they could change their citizenship and run away. That's another matter, but that's between Amit Shah and them. I have nothing to do. Although I have there also a petition lying that he is not an Indian citizen because he has taken British citizenship, and Amit Shah is just sitting on it. He won't, act on it. I don't know why, but anyway. So he has MRV has beautifully explained it, and the question is that you just have to understand. In the end, I would like to say, National Herald was a newspaper printed by Associated Journals, and it declared bankruptcy because it couldn't pay 90 crores given by Congress. Congress never gave them 90 crores. So they're committing perjury also, because on oath they have said we gave. So perjury is also one more charge we'll have to add. So there's no 90 crores. And on the basis of the fact that 90 crores could not be paid, you created 9 crores of 10 rupees each shares and gave the board members of Young Indian 99.1% of the shares of AJL, Associated Journals Limited. So, I mean, this is a gigantic fraud. I think in the world, it will become world's biggest fraud. I'm telling you, once all these four different investigation, income tax, and this housing development, housing matter, and housing ministry matter, and then this ED, all these put together, I will say that this will become a classic text for every detective school and every IPS exam and so on. It's such a big thing. And I have to thank my colleagues. I must mention one colleague who first saw it and brought it to my attention, and that is J. Gopikrishnan. Such a simple looking guy. He's a journalist in Pioneer, and he came to me and he said, "This is there." And then we sat together. There were two young lawyers. Some of them are now they have independent practice. We all sat together and we drew up. We pieced it all together. We couldn't get documents, but slowly started getting documents. And so now we are in this situation where I would say that this would be a big plus for BJP. So don't feel jealous if I get credit. The BJP is going to be the ultimate beneficiary, and BJP fighting corruption. This will be stand by itself enough for at least 3 more general elections. Over to you, Jagdish.
Dr. Swamy, my question is that the income tax matter as well as the land matter, that is the DDA matter, which is coming under the Urban Development Ministry, both are pending virtually for last few years in the Supreme Court. While
in appeal,
while in the lower court, many of these have a fast track court. So what prevents the Solicitor General to get up in the Supreme Court and make an application for expedited hearing of these pending cases?
Very good question. The answer is that he doesn't want to. That's all. Why he doesn't want to do, I can't tell. I can guess, but I won't tell. Yes, maybe Venkatesh has some angle on this. I don't know.
Yes, Mr. Venkatesh.
I have no. See, I would only guess one thing, that somewhere somebody believes that this case has to be kept in some sort of hibernation mode, and just push it once a while and go to sleep, and probably take another 5-10 years before this case comes to a logical conclusion. And there is only one inescapable conclusion, that there is a road to Tihar. I would only doff the hat of a professional and say that this is an open and shut case. But when it will be proved in a court, how it will be proved, who will be the judge, who will be the Solicitor General, all these are matters which I think Dr. Swamy is far more qualified than I am. But it is an open and shut case, and the roads to Tihar are in a freeway.
Yes.
Dr. Swamy, this question again. These guys, I mean, Sonia and Rahul and the gang, is there some kind of a thing that they keep continuing to delay this? Is there something that you can make them do this, or they just have to take that course time, whatever it goes? Is there anything that says that you're unnecessarily delaying the case?
The issue is there are two ways to delay. One is being some technicality. And that happened in this matter, getting some documents. I'm entitled to get documents when there's cross-examination. See, I am once the prima facie case is proved, then the next step, the prima facie case is proved without the accused being there. The next step is to further go into whether the prima facie case judgment of the court is valid by now allowing the accused to come into court and cross-examine the people who were examined for this purpose. That process is going on, and of course it's in their interest to go on dragging, thinking that maybe their government will come very soon, or I don't know what. But that delaying has been assisted by Corona also. That's been delayed by the feeling that Swamy shouldn't get the credit because he's a kind of a rebel. He will become more impossible. that maybe some deal. I can't say what it is, but there has been a enforced delay. But I do think that, as constructively Venkatesh said, uh, but this is an open shut case. So you don't do it. I don't mind. I expect to live 100, so I expect to see it in my lifetime. So therefore, this is a thing which will be a landmark. It will be a turning point. It will generate confidence that our system still can work if there are enough dedicated people.
One more thing. This is actually a question for MRV. MRV, what would you tell the chartered accountant that gave them this brilliant idea?
First thing, it was not a chartered accountant. That is the Chidambara Rahasyam of this case. Okay. Incidentally, it is a lawyer masquerading as an economist who has been exposed. And I'm sure that this case will blow his reputation to smithereens. That's the most important thing. Fallout of this case, the nuclear holocaust fallout will be that the man who for 30, 40 years masqueraded as a great economist, when he was not, he was at best a lawyer. Okay? He fooled us for 30, 40 years as if he is the Z word in economy. He will have his reputation go to top. Number one. Notwithstanding it, there are two chartered accountants who have given this opinion. The former presidents of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, who I know have given this opinion. Now, if it comes at that point in time, we definitely know we will get those opinions also. I'm sure they will also produce it in a court of law. At that time, it will be fun watching Dr. Swamy cross-examine them. And all of them are going to say that we never knew that this 90.21 crore was. I'm sure they are all going to say, and we are going to ask them, how did you come to this conclusion without even examining it?
Yeah, that's right. One thing I would add, you see, obvious that if Congress owed 90 crores and the building
Some problem.
should have got taken that 90 crores. Why didn't you do it? So it was. There was a hint there itself that there was something fishy.
One more. MRV, go ahead, complete. Then I have another follow-up.
The worst part of this scam, the worst part is Congress workers who paid money to Congress party got cheated by the leaders of the Congress party. That is the scam in its ugliest truth. The ordinary Congress worker who believes that he's Neta, and I have greatest of respect for the Congress worker because they believe that the Congress party will deliver this nation to something greater. And they put their money, their hard-earned money into the Congress kitty. And their own leaders have embezzled through a nefarious design. It's the most disgraceful thing. And I am with Dr. Swamy that this is the textbook case of breach of trust. Because this is not only Section 409 in its grand sweep, it is 409 even in a very philosophical level. Because the people who paid money to the Congress party have placed their wealth on a trust with the Congress leadership that they will use it for political purposes. Yeah. Good, bad, ugly, that's entirely different. We can argue with it. But they have placed it with utmost trust on these people. These people swindled it and privatized Congress party's wealth is the most obnoxious thing that can ever happen.
One more MRV observation. You just mentioned a lawyer masquerading as a finance minister. There is another lawyer who masqueraded as a finance minister who said all they can do is return the money and this thing is no longer
Yes.
Mr. Arun Jaitley, I got to mention that the former...
Two Shakunis at the same place.
One thing I have to say, that finance accounts are too serious a subject to be left to lawyers. And this is my understanding that I have been on the other side of the fence also. And I have been on this side of the fence. So it is very difficult to understand economics. Though I dabble in a bit of understanding. To understand economics is totally a different ballgame. You leave it to professionals Likewise, accounting, finance is a totally different ballgame. You leave it to professionals. Likewise, lawyering is a totally different. Advocacy is a totally different ballgame. You leave it to a professional. You trying to say you are master of all these things makes you an utter fool in the most important case of your life.
Yeah, there was one question somebody asked whether the loan could have been given in cash, so there is no record. No, I mean the question is impossible under the laws. Yeah, go on.
No, if Congress party if Congress party has given, I have an answer to that. If the Congress party has given loan by cash, 269 SS and 269 T of the Income Tax Act prohibits you from giving more than 20,000 rupees. So for giving 90 crore rupees through 20,000 rupees per year, it may take 180,000 years or something like that. So forget it.
Okay. Jagdish, you got a question, or we go to Arvind?
We are heading to 9 o'clock.
Yeah, Arvind, let's go to
Arvind. You have a question? Then
Dr. Swamy, I have a different question, which is actually new dimension to this issue. Against your complaint, Rahul Gandhi had gone to a court asking this case to be dismissed. And the judge, of course, he went in favor of Rahul Gandhi. But what he wrote is very important. He said, probity of a legendary national political party is under scanner. This is how he started with judgment. And then he went on to say, the court is of the considered view that the gravity of the allegations leveled against the petitioner was Rahul Gandhi, has a fraudulent flavor involving a political party. So my question is about political party.
Just an interruption. That case went in my favor. They couldn't get...
That is Sunil Gaur judgment in 2015.
That is totally in my favor. They wanted the summons to be quashed. The quash petition.
So he did not quash the summons.
He didn't quash, and he said all this.
Yeah. So the Election Commission has Representation of People's Act and has several rules. Election Commission monitors the expenditure of the candidates in the election, and also the political party is supposed to give income tax return every year, or the expenditure returns. I mean, in order to find out whether any corrupt practice is involved. Now, in this case, when it was very clear that there is a corruption case by a national political party, why did Election Commission did not act? Corrupt practices of Congress or any other political party should be subject matter of Election Commission action. But no action was taken in Election Commission. I'm sure there were some complaints, but these complaints were overlooked.
I had a complaint.
Yes.
Principal as a lawyer read out that in the court.
Yeah.
But it was declined on a technicality. You see, because what is banned is making a commercial use of the money of the party. But
right.
Giving a loan was not. So that mixture took place, and so
once this case is decided,
yes,
against Congress political party, can EC be approached again for de-recognition of Congress party?
Of course, 100%. 100%. Of course, subject to political pressures on both sides.
Yeah.
Well, let's conclude.
Dr. Swamy, I have a question. Dr. Swamy, I have a question for both you, MR, and perhaps even the other panel members. This present government, to keep out talent and keep out people who are fighting against corruption, try to keep some people out by bringing in some age factor. I want to know, all those young people who are in the government, why did they not think of pursuing cases of corruption as vigorously as you, or for that matter, other members of your team? What holds them back, the youngsters and the young Prime Minister of 56 inches chest, from fighting corruption of the Congress party and other types of corruption and black money? I want any comments from MR Venkatesh, Dr. Swamy, and others. What prevents them taking a proactive role to fight this corruption? Why private citizens like you have to come forward to fight this corruption?
In fact, my dealing with the officialdom or the babudom, as I call it, that in the last 8 years, corruption has increased manifold. There is obviously or apparently no corruption at the ministerial level, but there is extraordinary corruption at the babudom level. Let us be very clear. So it matters very little to me that I don't pay a minister a bribe, but I have to pay his secretary a bribe. Now, this is the sorry state of affairs. I had tweeted also, for which I had received a lot of flack. But the fact of the matter is, IT, GST, ED, CBI, and the SFIO have become Rottweilers on the prowl. And there is extortionist demand on several people, ordinary businessmen, ordinary people, which is going on in this country. So, in this particular matter, I would only say that the fight against corruption has probably not gone beyond sloganeering for the last 8 years. It has to be taken to a very logical conclusion. The disproportionate amount of discretionary powers given to the lowest level of the bureaucracy is causing this havoc. Last week, 2 chartered accountants were arrested by the Gurgaon office of the GST. And the entire chartered accountants, for the first time, chartered accountants usually never show their spine even in an X-ray. They suddenly became so vigorous. They came to the office, they did dharna, and a good group of them met the finance minister to tell what is the extortionist way of functioning that is happening in the GST. So all these things, unfortunately, continue. So it is only that there is no ministerial corruption, but there is administrative corruption has increased manifold. This is the truth of the matter.
No, Dr. Swamy, before you respond, I have to cross swords with M.R. Venkatesh. Under the Prevention of Corruption Act, if the government or the action of the minister even was to favor some industrial house or some bidder, is that not corruption?
Sir, obviously it is corruption. But
sir, when Pawan Airline and the Electronic Corporation of India, 2 public sector undertaking, were auctioned and was about to be given to some benamis of anybody, how do you say they could not be ministerial corruption? Maybe it's not coming out in the media, but you cannot just bait the bureaucrats. If you can't control the bureaucrats, that means either they are paying you or you are totally inefficient. These 2 public sector companies now have been put on hold because there is some hanky-panky in the deal. Pawan Hans and Electronic Corporation of India.
What about Air India?
Plus Air India. Everything is going on as it is going on, but these 3 public sector companies too, they themselves have admitted it. So is that not also corruption where ministers have a role to play?
Sir, till now, you and I probably are talking here. Nobody has alleged corruption at the ministerial level. That's the point I'm trying to make it out. But there is enormous corruption at the bureaucratic level. That is what I can only say, what I have faced and what I can vouch for. That is why I said what I said.
Anyway,
talking about ministers' corruption. Even in this case, in Dr. Swamy's case, there was a finance minister who on record told the journalists that Congress party just pays the money and gets out of it and there is no case. So if finance minister can interfere up to that extent in a court case, is that not a corruption?
Well,
I mean, the case of corruption.
Venkatesh is a diplomat. So he is focusing on the main issue and not getting into side issues for which he may have other problems. So I think we won't push him any further on that. But this is a question on which so far, from what Jagdish is saying, we haven't had a single case of a minister being prosecuted like it in the case it was UPA was there, of being prosecuted for corruption. So whether they have been smarter in that and all that, those are other matters. But the fact is that we don't have evidence just now. I'd also like to tell you that I'm in a very interesting situation. I was never asked to join the Margdarshan bundle. And I did get a member of parliamentship in 2016, and there were many other posts which were offered to me, some of them becoming non-political and some of them going away from the country. For instance, the BRICS Bank, which had a fantastic salary, but I didn't want to leave the country, so I didn't go. I was to meet the first president of the BRICS Bank, and the Prime Minister had made special efforts to see India got it. So the issue basically with me is different, that I am not a person who will compromise once I get on the move. And that in politics, most people don't like it. There were days in the past when it could, but now they talk about adjustability. Even these chamchas of Modi and Amit Shah who come on Twitter, you only say that you don't listen to anybody. A minister is supposed to not listen to anybody. He's supposed to do his job, and then where the matters are required cabinet, they will go to the cabinet and do it. But today, nothing gets approved by any minister on his file unless the PMOs put its signature. That's a kind of centralization we have never had before, even during the emergency of Mrs. Gandhi. So that's where the problem comes, that I'm not controllable, you see. And I'm happy I'm not controllable, because I was never controllable as a little boy also. And my parents always had this feeling. I'm sure that my family also feels I'm uncontrollable. But controllable has to be, I'm not wild in the sense, I go after something, then I don't let go. And that, I think, is something that is a desirable quality. And people in our society make that as something which is something that is not good. It's like telling a girl you'll not get a marriage in arrangement. You will not get a bridegroom in an arranged marriage if you are seen as either very talkative or someone who will give a reply. So be as humble as well obedient like a cow. These are things which I have inherited from the Mughal and British times, and I think it's time for us to be more open, speak more openly. And I do say that I am criticizing the party in policy matters, and so far the party doesn't like what I'm doing, and I'm not in part of their social circle. But the fact is that the party has put up with it, and I have to really thank the RSS for bringing that kind of culture into our political party, that policy issues can be debated and discussed even publicly.
Thank you, Dr. Swamy.
Arvind, Dr. Swamy and Ramesh, Ms. Dr. Venkatesh, there are a lot of questions from viewers here. When do you think this case can come to an end? Because people are a little bit cynical whether these high-profile guys can really be sent to jail. I know, Dr. Swamy, you have a very good track record for virtually after 20 years, you did send people to jail from Tamil Nadu. So, but people just want to know when will this high-profile guys go to jail.
That to jail, Lalita.
Yes. They just want to know when will this high-profile corrupt Congress crook, dynasty crook will go to jail.
Well, before anyone answers, let me just give a short answer. This question of time factor is a very dangerous thing, you see. And what will happen is somebody will do shoddy work. Where the circumstances are beyond your control, there's nothing you can do. But I would think that judging by international situations, I don't think that the cases that I have had so far have been unduly delayed. Even National Herald, all said and done, this is less than 10 years. I can tell you in America, cases of corporates, Ramesh will be able to tell us. There are cases against corporates has gone for a long time, and especially America with all this discovery and interrogatories and so on, it can delay things for a long time. So I don't think we need to be unduly critical. What we have to guard is rigging of the system. There is a system, for example, many of my petitions don't get listed before judges because at the registry level it is managed by some of our people in government. And that's a very sad thing. I've tried to break through it, and I hope it happens. That the government itself, the Prime Minister and the Home Minister will see to it that these things are not allowed, and the judiciary is allowed to have its own methods of selecting cases and rejecting cases. So those are the kinds of things where we find difficulty. But I don't find any difficulty if, for example, you have not come. Suppose you come with clean hands, even the government officials in CBI, the enforcement director, they have respect for you, and they will tell me on the side, on this matter we are getting a little pressure, please take care of it, that sort of thing. So India is all said and done has functioned as a democracy despite Mrs. Gandhi, and I would say despite Sonia Gandhi, and now even Mr. Modi. Some of the things which he has done, which I find is suffocating, and I'm fighting against it, and I'm happy that my party is allowing me to speak frankly against it.
Arvind, we are running out of time.
Thank you, Dr. Swamy. We are already running into 70 minutes, and we have had a program on National Herald earlier, also involved with J. Gopi Krishnan long back, and this time it was needed because the Enforcement Directorate has summoned Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi, and it looks like the Rahul Gandhi will appear on 13th of June, or Sonia Gandhi will appear once she recovers from the corona. And therefore it was required to freshen the memory of the people and our viewers to give them more information about this case. And Dr. Swamy, you have been a first complainant in this case. You have really given some more information today. M.R. Venkatesh, who is a chartered accountant, lawyer, and writer, author, all rolled into one, and a prime case witness, along with J. Gopi Krishnan, has thrown enough light on this case. Thank you very much, both of you, for giving such information to our viewers. And we conclude this program with this note, with thanks to my co-host Jagdish Shetty, Ramesh Swamy, and the technical team headed by Ashish Shetty, Ishwar Iyer, Gadgi Rakesh, Swaminathan, Tejas, Vishal Mehta, and Ajesh Nair. Next Sunday, we'll be meeting again with a new topic in the 160th episode of Words of Wisdom Gyan Ganga with Dr. Subramanian Swamy and another guest. Till then, Namaskar, Jai Hind.
Jai Hind. Dhanyavad.